The humble Telecaster. For such a simple guitar, there's thousands and thousands of opinions from people all over the internet that will tell you whether a guitar is really a Telecaster or is not, or is some sort of imposter. I don't know, we're talking about guitars. The internet's weird out there, y'all, right? So what makes a guitar a Telecaster? Is it the neck, the body shape, the switching? What is it that makes them a Telecaster? To me, one of the hallmarks and most identifying features of a Telecaster is the bridge, specifically these metal bridges where essentially you have a plate that the pickup is mounted to, and then you have some variations on saddles. Now, you have the classic version, which I have here, which is 3 brass saddles. With that, you even get into different metals. They went to steel for a little while. You can get them threaded. You can mix and match. People make titanium now, all these things. Or you have kind of what they call a more modern Telecaster bridge, especially in the 70s and 80s. People started putting them on the Gotohs and stuff like these. And then even your Mexican Telecaster standards, and a lot of those went to the 6 saddle bridge. You see all these beautiful examples that also still use a base plate though, right? So to me, it's still a Telecaster. It's just whether or not you want individual intonation or if you're okay with the old school look. Me personally, I like the old school look. But there is one thing, be forewarned. If you have these bridges, not all of them are created equal. The main difference I have seen, and we will look at it in a second, is the way it mounts to the body. You either have the 4-hole that I have, or you have a more modern, what would have that been? 90s, 2000s American standard that used 3 bolts. Here's a picture of one of those versus the 4 bolts, right? So first thing you need to figure out is, does your guitar use 3 or 4 bolts to mount it to the body? Once you've got that, everything else is gonna drop right in. So what we're doing today is we're swapping out this standard Fender bridge I have with this Glendale one. Where is it? There it is, that I found on the old internets for sale used. Now this one, why do I want to change it? It's essentially the same, but this one is really nice because it has the sides cut out so that my pick doesn't hit these corners. Now, everything else about it is essentially the same. This one also has a slightly different sort of compensated saddle. We'll talk about that when we start breaking it down. I'll show you the difference between it and the saddles I have on mine right now. But all in all, the main reason I want to do it is because I like tinkering around with stuff, let's all be honest, and I want to put this one on without the sidewall. So I'm going to stop talking and let's get this guitar on the bench. Let's go. All right, guys, so we don't need a whole lot of tools to do this. Basically, you need your usual tools that you would use for, you know, changing your strings, and then you'll just need a screwdriver, or if you're like me and you're all fancy and your family got you an electric one for Christmas, ooh, that's all you'll need because there's only 4 bolts holding this on. Where we really get tricky is when we start setting this thing back up and getting the intonation. So first things first, let's get the strings off. So that was quick and easy, if only it was always that easy. All right, so now all we have to do is, let's come in here a little closer. Okay, so all we have to do is we have these 4 bolts to take out, and then these 3 bolts that hold the pickup on. That's it. Take those out, and we're golden. So I like to take these bolts out first, and then I'll take the ones out of the pickup. That won't work to mine. All right, now the bridge is loose. Now you're gonna wanna be careful because there's wires, right, running from this pickup to the control panel. So you just wanna kind of bring it out gently so that you don't tear any wires. All right, we got that out. So you can see the wires are connected right here. So let's get this thing removed. Okay, did they come loose? Yeah, all right. So there we go. Now we just take these off. We get ready to run the new one. One of the things you also want to make sure is you keep these little rubber pieces of tubing. This is actually what gives you the tension that allows you to adjust your pickup height, right? So we go. So we take those off. I need to clean this a little bit. I got a little bit of goo there. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're changing angles, guys, so that you guys can see the difference in these bridges a little bit better. So regular old Fender bridge plate with Gotoh compensated saddles versus the Glendale with Glendale compensated saddles. So the bridge plates, they feel like they weigh almost exactly the same. Honestly, the Fender one might be just a little bit heavier with the saddles and all on it. Either way. So what do we got? The difference in construction on these is only one thing. Glendale has these sides cut out, whereas the Fender one doesn't. It has these high walls. So I wanted to put this on here so that my pick doesn't hit the side of the bridge occasionally. That's it. I'm really looking forward to it. And then the way they handle compensation on these is slightly different. So let's see if I can get these in here where you guys can see them. Okay, so you notice the Glendale just tilts them, which is kind of a play off of what people used to do back in the day where they would bend this screw to do the compensation. Whereas the Gotoh, they have these little grooves, and what they'll do is the high point on this groove is further back set on the barrel. The groove on this one is further forward. So you essentially get the same thing where the string touches here on the back side of this barrel and on the front side of the barrel on the A string. Whereas on the Glendale, they just tilt the whole thing. So it's kind of two different ways to get to the same thing. So that's the only difference. All right, let's put the Glendale on. All right, so again, don't forget, you gotta make sure you have this ground wire on. If you don't, it's gonna buzz like a you-know-what. So with this one, I'm gonna put the ground wire here. That's the way this one works. Maybe if yours is just make sure the wire is sitting there if yours works that way. Or yours might have a ground wire connected to the bridge plate, the bridge pickup plate. If so, then yours is going to ground through the screw, touching the metal on this bridge and then touching the metal here on the pickup. So it just depends on how yours is set up. So please refer to your installation manual provided by the pickup manufacturer, if at all, or put it back the way you found it, might be another way to say that. All right, so let's get these rubber screw washers. Now, here's another thing that some people may not know. Let's see. This little rubber piece of tubing is actually what works almost like a spring so that you can adjust the height of the pickup, okay? So you want those on there too. Gotta have those on there. All right, we put that there. Now, here comes the important, oh, that's the one that I should have put the ground wire on. So that guy goes there. All right, so we get those lined up. That gets the pickup started. I like to kind of just bottom it out against the tubing, and we'll adjust the pickup height once the strings are on. That's a whole other thing we got to work on in a minute. All right, so that's that. Then we gently fit that in, line up our holes here, and then we put our screws in, and that's it. Then we just got to string it back up, y'all. All right, so when I'm putting on this bridge, I like to use the screwdriver to do the last little bit because I'm paranoid. I don't want to over tighten it and strip these holes, because if you strip them, you got a mess on your hands. So, all right, it's on there now. All we got to do is string it. So let's put the strings on. All right, done. Strings are back on. Man, I wish every string change went as fast as it does when you use Movie Magic. So yeah. Looks pretty cool. We'll see how it plays once I get everything else done. So the last thing we need to do, let's come in here closer. Here, let's do a manual pull in close. Look at that. No digital with us here today. So I'm gonna use the not Phillips head, the Allen head screws here. I'm gonna get a little hex Allen wrench, and I'm gonna adjust the height of these first to get my action where I want it. Then I'll just adjust the intonation, because the height of these also matters. So get your height set. So there's a pro tip. Set the height on your strings first, then start adjusting the intonation. Now, something also to keep in mind, it might take you a few days to get it all settled in on the intonation because string stretch and yada, yada, yada. So I do that first. Then I'll adjust the height on these pickups because I can already tell you just by looking at that, that's really high. So we're gonna lower that a little bit. And then we'll get that done. Take your preferred method of pickup height adjustment. Yeah, and then we'll see what it sounds like. All right, cool. Now see, that wasn't so hard, was it? With just a little bit of knowledge and a screwdriver, you can upgrade the bridge on your Telecaster too if you want to. Really, it's just 6 or 7 volts depending on the bridge that you have. So remember, first things first is you gotta make sure your bolt pattern on the bottom is either 3 or 4 for mounting it to the guitar body. So once you figure that out, the rest of it should just lay in there. And then be very careful when you're pulling that bridge plate off that you don't pull or tear any wires. And then make sure you get that ground wire back on so it doesn't buzz, okay? You do those 3 things and you shouldn't have any troubles. So my verdict is, I like it. The main thing I like about it is that it has the sides cut down so that I don't have to worry about hitting my pick if I want to go near the bridge to hit it. I don't have to be as careful, which is always nice. So that is the main upgrade. Is it leaps and bounds better than the Fender one? No, I don't think so, especially since I already had compensated saddles on my Fender bridge. But it's a nice upgrade to have those sidewalls missing. So do with that what you will. So now what I will say, and you're gonna notice it, as soon as you go on the internet and type in, I want a Telecaster bridge, you're gonna see prices ranging everywhere from 40 bucks all in to maybe 240 bucks all in. So a lot of that comes down to, a lot of times, to what is that bridge plate made out of. Some of them are made out of brass. There's just tons of options. Cost-wise, I think the best money you can spend is on the compensated saddles. You can get a nice set of compensated saddles for 15, 20 bucks. So if you don't want to do any of the other stuff of taking the whole bridge plate off, and you have the 3 saddle bridge, get some compensated saddles. It'll make your life a lot easier. So that's the best place to spend your money. Now after that, it's really up to you. How much money do you want to spend? I will say this Glendale bridge is really, really nice. It's really well made. It's flat as a pancake. It went on there, no trouble. Really well machined. I think these new go for like 125 bucks. I got mine used secondhand, so that's why I decided to put it on there. But if this is what you're looking for, it's super well made and you might want to give it a shot. So I'll be honest with you, the only reason I upgraded to this Glendale is because I got it used for like 50 bucks, which is about what you would spend for a Gotoh compensated saddles and a Fender bridge just right off of the internet. So that made it worth it to me to change them because I wanted the cutoff sidewalls. I think I've said that 50 times already. So for me, that was worth it. Now, if I had to pay 200 bucks, I don't know that I would have done it. So, but everyone's got their own personal feelings about what things are worth to them. So I think if you find what you want, I think Gotoh also makes one with the cut sides. You can just find so many things out there. So find something you like and give it a try. One last thing before we get out of here. I know I said something about doing sound clips, and I made a before and after sound clip, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't really tell the difference. So I think if you're gonna upgrade your bridges, the thing to really think about is intonation. And then maybe, you know, the sidewalls and the way it feels on your hand. Now, I guess if you went to like a much heavier bridge, it might make some tonal differences. But for me, all things being equal, the tone kind of sounded the same. So for me, it would be more about comfort in your hand, and intonation is a reason to upgrade your bridge, okay? I guess I could have cut to chase on that at the beginning of the video, huh? Oh well. Thanks again, y'all. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. What are your favorite Telecaster mods that you've done to yours? Like I said, I just got this parts caster, and when I built it, I basically did the mods I wanted to. There's a video that I'll link at the end of this one you can walk through this guitar, except now we've got this nice Glendale bridge on it. So again, find things you love, mod them, do what you want to do with them. They're yours. Don't be sacred to these things. They're just tools, so enjoy them. Thanks again, y'all. Click on something over here. I'm sure there's something you'll love. And I'll catch you next time. Until then, just keep playing and noodling and just make sure you're having a good time, all right? Later.